You mean,
Yes, I did it.
you mean, Amy, so great to see you.
So great to see you, Chad.
Oh my gosh.
I,
Mace.
I know.
Hello.
I'm like,
Heather, hello.
Hello.
It's so great to see you, even
It's
though you're
so
like literally, well, I mean, comparatively down the street.
yeah, right. Comparatively to West Coast girl here.
Indeed. Indeed.
Cute.
Look at Phil's screensaver.
Phil, you are too
But Amy,
cute.
you're gonna get that baby smell again. That
I know, like
you
fresh
know.
human. Hi, Phil.
Yes.
Hey.
Phil, you're like official, like in a sound studio.
You know,
Oh,
we're doing
legit.
Zoom. I figured I'd get on the work computer and do it for real, right?
And
Amazing.
rightfully so.
RJM, hey.
Hello, hi
Hey,
all. How we doing?
So
good.
good.
Good,
Oh my
good.
goodness.
And a minute.
Yes, look at all of your faces.
For
We're just
20
waiting for
years.
Laura.
Just a few decades, all good.
Sarah.
Just a couple.
Sarah, hello.
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 Hey.
Oh my God, all of this.
What is happening?
Oh my goodness. Let me just text Laura and see. Hello, everyone. I am Chad Swan-Badgero. I'm the artistic director for Peppermint Creek Theater Company. And today I'm like just so thrilled to be having this Crimes of the Heart reunion and in celebration of our 20th anniversary as a theater company this year, our formal anniversary as a nonprofit theater company. I have gathered with me everyone but one, and hopefully she'll be jumping in with us, every cast member from Crimes of the Heart, which was our first production as a nonprofit theater. So I'm going to have everyone introduce themselves, and then we're going to like jump into just this like reunion and conversation about what that show meant to us and to each other, and some reminiscing, etc. So I'm going to just call on you. You can just we can go around and just introduce yourselves. So Amy.
Hi, I'm Amy Handelman. I played Babe in this show. I was like, did I play Babe? I played Babe. And I live in Los Angeles now, and I'm still acting. And I loved my time with Peppermint Creek Theater. It was so special. It was my first community theater, actually.
Let's get to that in a second.
Yeah.
Yes, great. Awesome. Thank you. Ryan.
Hi, I am Ryan Mahaney. I live in Chicago. I played Doc Porter in the original Peppermint Creek production. And I just had a ball doing it. It was crazy to get it on its feet with the powerhouse cast that we had. And it's hard to believe it's been 20 years, but here we are.
Yes. Thank you. Heather.
Hi, I'm Heather Lewis. I played Lenny, the oldest sister. I'm still here in the area. I haven't done any acting in a long time, but I am still playing with my bands. And yeah, I am thrilled to be here 20 years later with these amazing people.
Yes. Thank you. Phil.
Thanks, Chad. Hi, I'm Phillip Van Wagoner. I live in Los Angeles now. I had to look up the cast list of this show before we got on here. So I think I played Barnett Lloyd. Is that right? Okay,
Yeah.
great. And it was fantastic. It was a really great, unique memory for me. I remember being in the greenhouse, which was incredible, and all doing that together. So really happy to be here.
Thanks, Phil. Sarah.
Thanks.
Hi, I'm Sarah Hendrickson. This is Miller Pup Pup.
Hey,
He
Miller.
insisted on being here. I played Meg. I also too had to go back and look at it, and look what I found.
Thank you very much for
I looked
that.
at mine. I didn't have that. Oh,
I know, I saved nothing, and this made it. So yeah, it was such a treat, such a pleasure to be a part of that show, and I know it was really, really special. I think for all of us, just going based on what everybody just said. But yeah, just really happy to be here today and to see all of you again.
Thanks, Sarah. And Laura Croft, who played Chick, who also is just like acting all the time in Lansing. She hopefully will join us today, but she was also a part of our cast. So thank you all for those introductions. So really quickly, for those of you that maybe weren't around 20 years ago, what was happening for us as a theater company was, I was doing community theater as a high school student. And then when I graduated in 95 from high school, oh my God. Okay. So there was nothing happening that summer. And I was like, naively, I was like, I'll just direct my own show, Judy Garland style. And I did. And so from 95 all through college at MSU, I was directing stuff, and then went away, well, I taught for a while, and then I went away to New York City. And then when I came home from New York in 2003, I was like, now I'm ready to actually formally put some roots to this theater company. And so found a lawyer, did all the paperwork, and did the paperwork to become a nonprofit theater company. And that's when we sort of officially kicked off as a real theater company in 2003. And that first season for us, which every single production I directed, okay, that's what happens when you are 20 something, have no children or any relationship, is you just direct all the time. And so that first season for us was Crimes of the Heart, and then the last 5 years, and Laramie Project. And so that was like our first full season as a nonprofit theater company. And that's sort of what kicked us off. And as was just alluded to previously, because my dad ran the MSU theater, or the MSU greenhouse and gardens. And I was like, where do you put on a show if you don't have anything? My dad was like, you could do it in the greenhouse down the hall. And so that's where that whole first season was presented, in a greenhouse, which in the evenings was magical. And at 2 o'clock matinees was bright. So that's where we were at 2003, is like as kicking off as a formal theater company with Crimes of the Heart by Beth Henley. And so that's where I want to start. And so, as you all started to allude to this. I just want to start with okay, what I knew some of you from MSU, kind of sort of, but as a new theater company, what were you thinking? What made you come and audition for a show like this? If you didn't know me, if you did know me, if you knew Peppermint Creek or didn't, what made you want to come, if you remember that? And you maybe don't remember, but so talk to us about, Sarah.
I remember because we've been friends before that, and we did that amazing show for our summer camp. It was so bad. But we fell in love. And so then I was like, you know what? I just really, of course I want to do this. Of course I want to do this with Chad. So yeah. And then you picked this great show, and it was like a no-brainer. So I mean, that's why, just because I love you.
Oh, that's a great reason. That's often why I want to do theater, just because I love people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What else?
Honestly, I can't remember the moment we met, Chad.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember you're like a force, like a wind in my life. And I feel like you told me that you were gonna do the show, and I was like, well, I think they were doing Hamlet on campus, and I didn't get cast, and you were like, come and audition for mine. And I was like, somebody wants me? And you gave me a part, and it was so great. I mean, I had never done community theater. I'd basically just done high school theater and college productions.
Were you a freshman at that point? What
I think I was a freshman.
Okay. Yeah.
Wait, what year was this? 2003?
Yeah.
I was not. I was a sophomore, maybe.
Okay.
It was my second year. And you were just so welcoming and so nice. And I was like, oh, is this what the world is like? It was just such a great start. I mean, for me personally, but also you were just so kind and generous with it all. And I was actually thinking, why did I not ask you why you chose this show to be your first show?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we didn't talk about it.
No, well, what's interesting is if I reflect back now and I consider all the shows we've done since, Crimes of the Heart is not necessarily real deep in our DNA as far as the type of show we tend to do, quote unquote issue plays. I mean, Laramie Project is far more in line with the type of work that we're doing at Peppermint Creek than Crimes of the Heart. And that's a great question. I'm trying to think of that too. I often even still why did I pick that? I think that there was probably a part of me that was even then, which is still the case now as we plan seasons, is where is the line of what I think this community will come to see, and how far can we push them? So like, where's that line of like family friendly and yet issue driven? Or where's the like nudity, but also like, I'm gonna cry. You know, it's like, I think Crimes of the Heart, there it is. That's like,
Yeah.
that's how you artistic direct.
Those two go really close together for me a lot.
Yeah,
It's all right.
It's like, is how do you pick
Uh,
shows that are a balance of those? And I think Crimes of the Heart, I think I believed that it had like a real nice tender soul to it. And yet I think it talked about some stuff that still was like, felt just like a little bit like it wasn't gonna like blow anyone's mind, and it wasn't also gonna offend anyone, but it still felt manageable as a new theater company. Yeah, it was a whole lot of things, I think.
I guess also you had the resources, like you had women to cast,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah, it wasn't, I mean, it's interesting to consider who is hard and not hard to cast in this community. That's always the case. Like you read a script and you're like, I love this, but do we have these people? Or will they come out? And yeah, for a show like this, it was pretty, yeah, I knew lots of women from the theater department at State. And so I think generally I felt like I was at least setting myself up in a way that we probably could. But I will tell you, and Heather, this should like tee you off. I know what I was like is I was like, this age range feels like manageable to like the people that I know. So like as Sarah said, like I knew Sarah. So I was like, great, like I can find her in this, but I was like, ooh, a 30-year-old. How am I gonna find a
And then
30-year-old?
one walks through.
I'm literally like, I'm 23. I don't know any 30-year-olds that want to come and act with like me.
Where do they hide?
Where do they you find them? And Heather
the
came
suburbs.
along and I'm like, I'm not kidding. She handed me her form and I was like, she's 30?
The empty
Perfect.
form that had nothing on it. Yeah, I handed you that form. That was the moment I met you.
Mhm.
Here's my nothing.
Uh-huh. So Heather, do you want to talk about that? Why'd you show up?
Oh my gosh. So I saw an ad in the Williamston Enterprise, which is no longer in existence, for this audition. I had never acted in anything. I had no high school drama club. I was at a rural school that had nothing. I always knew I wanted to act. I always knew that. It was always kind of bubbling up under the surface. So I saw this in the paper. I had 2 little kids. I'm like, there's no way. I can't do this. I can't go to this audition, whatever. And then a quote came across that said, someday is today. So I was oh, someday I'll try that. Someday I'll just audition. I'll just give that a try. So I went. I got in the car and I almost turned around several times. And then I got to the auditorium. I walked up those flights of stairs and I sat down with all of these women who were very young and very beautiful. And I was in my 30s. I was a mom. And I had nothing to write on the sheet, and they were going on
Meaning
the
like you didn't have like as far as like your past experience, right?
Right, with all the shows they'd been in, I had nothing to write, and they were flipping theirs over. Anyway, so I got up to leave. And Amy and sweet little blonde, I think her name was Annie.
Yes.
Did I get that right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Good memory.
Anyway, Amy and Annie, I believe, I was already down one flight of stairs and they came after me. And you guys said, you are not leaving here without doing this today. I was leaving. I was gone. And so I said, but look at my sheet. I don't have anything on my sheet. You're like, you're doing it. So I walked in, I handed you my sheet and I read with you, Sarah.
Yay!
Yeah. I had no idea what I was doing, but anyway, thank you for taking a chance on me.
Sort of like what Amy said, I remember all I wanted to do was do theater with nice people. And like what I didn't know, I think I just made up for I just want to be here with these people. And when you came in, Heather, like that, like you generally like I've learned over the years how to like read people better in auditions so then they don't trick you into thinking that they're really, really good. But like what I knew about you right away was that you were just like so nice. Like you were just a person you wanted to be in the room with. And that has remained true my entire life with you.
Oh,
And Heather's
yeah,
now been
that
in
was
my
super nice.
wedding, like, you know, whatever. So like, you know, and that, so yeah, I remember you very clearly walking in, just being like, this is just like the sweetest person ever. Just like, yeah.
And she's 30.
And she's 30. Here
I
they
was
are.
31. But
I only needed one of them.
who's counting?
Yeah. So men, what about you guys? What made you come?
Ryan, I think you got to go first on this one.
Okay. Well, Chad and I were chums before. We did a little production, I believe, before that called Dinner with Friends, wasn't
Yes,
it?
we did. Yes,
Did.
thank you.
So that got the we started rowing the boat then, and that was very grassroots, but it was just a blast. I mean, it was a safe place, but you could take risks, and Chad would challenge you, and he would, say, why don't you do this one for you? Or, throw you just kind of a little curveball to kind of get out of your head as an actor. And it was just awesome for a young aspiring actor to have somebody kind of push you or think about things. And especially in a setting like that, where it was just like, it just was an awesome space to be. And Chadley, you created that. So it was contagious. So then when this came along, I'm like, sign me up, whatever's next, let's roll. So
Mhm.
this one and Laramie Project, those were just awesome. And the cast, like everybody just kind of put their hands in the middle and was like, okay, let's do this. And I remember I think I had to do a mini audition for Doc, but I
Maybe.
remember, yeah, I think when you cast it, I remember looking at the cast and I'm just like, man, this is like awesome. Like, this is an awesome cast. And it does. I did kind of think about it. I think Amy, you touched on it. Like, why did you pick that Crimes of the Heart? And I kind of thought about that. I'm like, yeah, that was one I hadn't heard of until you brought it up, and it makes sense with your breakdown. And then I think it was perfect for the greenhouse. So it did everything. But, just doing it was like really cool. And obviously, in that one, a little bit minor role, but like you ladies were just every night. You guys were awesome. Like seriously, it was just an awesome production. Like it was cool to kind of peek at the audience and see what you guys brought to the table. You too, Phil. You too.
Well, and I want Phil too, but Ryan, I mean, I think Ryan, you and Sarah, I think I knew the best coming into this show.
Yes.
And and I felt like that, your character had sort of that like easygoing kind of southerny kind of bit that you sort of like leaned into really easily. So I felt like even though I knew you and that felt safe from like I knew I could trust you because we had already done something together. That also felt good, like in your body, that felt like you like were really great for that role.
Yeah, it was just awesome, Chad. It was so cool. I can't believe it's been like 20 years, but
No.
yeah, it was a ball. And I think it definitely, put the flag on the map of the Lansing area of like, okay, this, keep your eye out. This is this is a legit production coming at you with more to come. So, and you did. So,
and Ryan's the only person in my entire life that calls me Chadley and still calls me
Chadley,
Chadley,
yes.
and it's just like
Yes.
it's really close to my heart. So
yeah, it just rolls off the tongue. So
yeah, no one else can do that. Just you.
Okay. Yeah.
Phil, what about you?
I mean, I feel like you, Chad, and maybe Sarah can probably tell the story better because I believe there was someone else cast initially. And then, if I recall, maybe I could be wrong, but I recall Sarah was incredibly convincing, was like, there's this play, you've got to come join, you got to be a part of it. And I feel like I came in a little late. I came in a little like you had already maybe gotten started. But I remember being a really great experience. It's something I hadn't done. I hadn't been performing in plays in school or done any community theater at that point. I was mostly running around with an improv team. And I remember getting asked to come in and join. And similar to what Ryan said, like Amy, Heather, and Sarah were amazing, and it was awesome just to be there and be a part of it, and not have to carry too much. It was great.
I do remember that. Thank you for unveiling that memory. I remember talking with Sarah, like, who the hell do we have? I need another guy. And Sarah, also, you were like I don't know if you were doing improv at the time, but I felt like you had relationships with improv people.
At the time, I was so scared of improv, and like, and now that's like what I teach. So
Uh-huh.
it's just been a weird journey, but yeah, no, I remember, Phil, I remember that you were doing it, and I remember you being really, really good at it. And so that like seemed like a very natural, fit, and being a really lovely person too, just kind of like, yeah, come play.
And I remember Phil being like, when you arrived, like feeling really excited about, like arrived in rehearsals, I mean, being excited about how smart you were. So I think that you definitely brought like an improv aesthetic to like rehearsals. And I think that fed me a lot as a director. Like, and it was the first time I remember feeling like, oh, like you can trust the actors to also bring like, I would like sort of meticulously come with the ideas about what this scene was gonna look like or whatever, but you just being really like quick and fast and just like ready to like throw out a bunch of shit. And I think that has proven to be really valuable in rehearsal halls since. And so I remember you really doing that when you
That's the kindest way anyone's ever told me I'm bad at listening. That was amazing. Like he's just gonna do that thing. And it'll be fine.
That's awesome. You guys, yeah, so that I love that. So talk about like what sort of memories stand out to you about this show. I'll start. That we were in a greenhouse and that like plants surrounded the stage and that water bugs, little like my dad claimed they weren't roaches, but I swear they were roaches, would like crawl through the scene during a show. That's what I remember.
Okay, Amy, go.
Sarah,
And then
are you going to talk about the shoe?
Yes.
Show. I knew it. So yes, Sarah, tell the story.
I'm so triggered right now. Okay, so oh my God. I have touched a roach. I know it was a roach. You can never tell me it was not a roach. I'm like, oh, yeah, sure. I'm like, I'm gonna put my shoes on now because we had our shoes off, because you have your other shoes on. And I'm like, oh, my sock's in there too. I'm gonna get my sock out and like I put it, and then I just felt this like come out, like it was so soft and like could have been lovely if it hadn't been a roach.
Yeah.
Or in your shoe.
Or in my shoe.
Yeah.
I'll never forget.
I remember your trauma. You were like,
yeah. Never
this is what happens when you are an itinerant theater company performing anywhere that they'll let you perform. And so I mean, that sort of started to be that also, to Ryan's point, like, watch out for that theater company. Also, watch out when you're with the theater company that wherever you're performing, you never know what, I mean, barns, greenhouses, anywhere, right? Like, and you just take what comes with it, and roaches / water bugs were sort of what you took with that theater or with that space.
I mean, I've never put on a shoe without like checking, Sarah. So thank you for your sacrifice.
Yeah, I really took one for the team on that one. I love that you remember that. That's so funny.
Oh, vivid, because you were so upset. And I was like, I don't know. I mean, it's just a bug, but like I didn't have it crawling on my foot.
It was just the first in a long string of diva behavior, I guess.
No, please. You're the least diva. What else do you guys remember?
I remember the table read, cool. And then you said, okay, we're going to put it on its feet. I had no idea what that meant. We got up, right? And we blocked, didn't know what that meant. That entire rehearsal, I never wrote anything down. I didn't know I was supposed to, or I needed to remember that I needed to cross left. So I remember a huge learning curve. Got that figured out with all of your help. But what I really remember is the camaraderie backstage. I've been in several shows since, but it has never been replicated, that camaraderie. And I don't know if it was because it was a family drama and those kind of themes and feelings were going around, but it's the first one, and it's the most precious one to me.
Sweet.
Oh yeah. I mean, I loved coming to work. That was such a joy, Chad. You just made such a nice warm space for all of us. And like the greenhouse is so great in that sets. And although I'm trying to remember, where did we go off stage? It's like a black hole.
I remember, okay, what's interesting about this, and as far as documentation, is that we have had every single show we've ever done recorded. So like I have a video except for this one. It's the only show in 20 years. And it's so crazy to me. I'm really bummed about that. I remember that the audience was I think in the round or on 3 sides.
Yeah.
At least 3 sides.
That was 3 sides.
And
It was
I remember the kitchen,
Mm-hmm.
like I remember there was a refrigerator and I remember there was a sink and a table, but I think you went off, like you could go off in that area where the dressing room was, that was like in the corner, but I don't remember if there was like, I feel like maybe there was exits on all 4 sides. Anyway.
I know, I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, I can't.
You might be right.
Yeah. I remember there was a door, because I remember both Phil's character and Laura's character coming to that door that was on the side, like that, like a swinging screen door. But that's it. Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
Oh.
I had no
dark
idea how
back
close we
there.
were to that beautiful garden too.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Right outside.
taking our breaks out there.
Mhm.
A lot of cool
Well,
stuff.
I got to
was
meet
there.
Chad there recently. Sorry, I didn't
Oh,
mention
no,
that.
go, Amy, go.
No. I got to meet Chad in that children's garden, and I had like no concept of like that side of campus.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. But please go ahead.
I know they do weddings there all the time. I mean, it's such a
pretty.
gorgeous spot, right? And there's just all this like magic that happens in there. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's still around and people are still vying for it and in there all the time. And it's just kind of like, I don't know, it's just a beautiful spot.
It's interesting to me to consider, like as sort of like our first official show, how being in that interesting space, what would our history have looked like since, if we had started in like a more traditional like black box, just as like a tiny little theater company in a black box, or something much more traditional, as opposed to being in this weirdo greenhouse. But yet, like you're saying, Sarah, like it also felt, I mean, I remember because I was there all the time with my dad working there, that it always felt very humanizing to be surrounded by plants. But it's weird. I don't know, like now I would never be like, yeah, let's go back there. Let's go back to the greenhouse. But I think it's interesting about how that put an imprint on us as a theater company, and what that maybe set, like, just how it set a tone, maybe.
As a director too, you were such a problem solver and finding ways to like look at what you had available to yourself and say, how do we make this work and make this wonderful? And I loved that about that play. I thought it was excellent, and something definitely kind of kept with that mindset with like our improv shows and things like that, of like, how can we get into a unique space and use it for what it is?
Yeah. I mean, so thinking about that and thinking forward, like what other, I know obviously, but maybe the people was like, what other shows, were you ever part of another Peppermint Creek show after Crimes of the Heart? Talk about that. You don't have to talk about like in depth, but like what were they, or what would shows stand out?
I was in Corpus Christi. It was just a stage full of dudes. It was just dudes as far as the eye could see.
10, I think, yeah.
12 dudes.
You just described it as a stage full of dudes. I always refer to that show as the gay Jesus play, which everyone told me we could not do because it was getting picketed everywhere in New York and LA. And I was like, I think we're fine. And it was great. That was Corpus Christi was a great experience too. Great. Yeah, what else?
I did The Shape of Things, and that was awesome. I'm like, I wonder how it would have been if we had done it in the greenhouse instead of the Room 49. But I loved that show. I feel like you introduced me also as a human and an actor and a person who loves to read, to all this genre that I really just, you're so boxed into like the academic, plan for theater education, and you really opened a lot of doors for me, Chad, as far as like, oh my God, there's this whole other modern, contemporary, not Shakespeare world, it was so cool.
I'm glad. And, frankly, Amy, I was doing that in real time with you. I think I was also like reading the Edward Albee and the Neil Simons, and then coming to life with the Neil LaButes and being like, this is the kind of thing I want actors to say on stage,
Yeah,
so
it's so much more relevant.
Yeah,
it's to the time, but
yeah. Sarah, what about you?
I don't think I did another one.
God. No, I
think
think
you were like,
sometimes
"Please
think you were
never be in a show of mine again." I think I remember saying
I was like,
What?
you and your diva behavior can get out of here. can't take one little
Yeah.
water bug.
No,
I feel like,
no,
you
I
know,
think I moved soon after that.
you did, you were away.
Yeah.
And then I think every time I've asked you since, you've been like, no way. I'm kidding.
Well, no, I almost did. What was it? And then
Venus,
I got pregnant.
I think Venus and Fur.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that would have been really fun, but you know,
Mm.
life happens.
And then
Yeah, I was
kids,
happy
like-
about it. It's like, if I had
You're like, I love my kids.
worked out.
Yeah.
Ryan, after that, you were in
Laramie Project.
Laramie.
Yeah, that was a ball. Yep, Heather was
Was there
too.
anything
I love
after Laramie
that.
though, Ryan?
No, you tried. I was leaving, and you definitely put the full court press on. So
I do.
I'm a coward. I backed out. I stuck around Chicago. But we did, what was the, we did do that one night. It was a Sunday night read through. What was that? We
Oh, was
did,
that Reasons to be Pretty with the music
Mhm.
stand? I did a read through
Or-
with that with you.
Was it
it
Reasons?
was in Williamston. It was like,
Oh, right. It
what was
was
that?
it was a
What-
Becky something.
I
do
can't remember what that was, but yeah, I came into town for that one. That was fun.
Seeing you all here and that, Ryan, reminds me like that. I don't think I'll ever let that go about like I will constantly just go back and like believe that you all still just like live on campus and you're just like dying to come do a show again with me. And I'll be like, hey, hey, you should come. I mean, literally like up to like last year. So Alex Zakakis, who was in Shape of Things with Amy, I think last year was like, hey, what do you think about coming and doing this show? I think you'd be really great. And he was like, I live in Chicago and I have 2 kids. What are you talking about? And I'm like, what do you mean? I don't, anyway. And Heather, I mean,
I've done, I think, 12 of your shows. I think.
yeah,
Um, Last Days of Judas Iscariot is a favorite. I played totally against type.
Mhm.
I at the nail salon, someone said, you're actually pretty nice. I'm like, oh, thanks. Well, I saw you in that play and you were such a
About Judas Iscariot.
yes,
Oh wow. Okay.
yeah. Do you remember Fiona? She was harsh.
Uh-huh.
What else? What else have we done?
Skylight.
Oh, I did with Jimmy and
Oh right.
Brent.
Baltimore Waltz.
Baltimore Waltz. Yep,
Yeah.
just the 3 of us in that.
Mhm.
That was amazing.
And Heather and I'm not even going to say the title out loud because because I don't want, I keep, like, I think for like 5 years, I've been trying to get you to come do this play with me and we
Sorry.
and I'm like, and every year I pick it up and I'm like, I'm going to do this play, but I was like, I don't know if Heather's ready yet. So I'm going to set it back down.
I have it at my bedside table.
Great. I have not forgotten. It's right here. But no, Skylight, because Skylight was actually the first play I ever fell in love with. Like I like literally, I remember reading it on vacation somewhere with my family and there was a beach. And I just remember like reading Skylight and feeling like I actually fell in love with it. And so that was like in our second season. And so I think that was like the very next play after Laramie. So we did Laramie.
Do you remember we had to suspend production at that time and then we got Brad.
Yes, because of casting. Yeah, because we had to find
Yeah,
some.
casting. So we had, yeah.
Yeah, so
That
Heather and I have
was-
done a lot. Yeah, we've done a
It
lot.
was at the barn. And
Yeah,
it was freezing. Remember I had to do the towel and get sprayed down and it was winter and it was so cold. You had heaters on.
I don't remember that. I remember you eating bowls of spaghetti sauce. That's what I remember in that show. Like, because when you just eating spaghetti sauce, anyways. Yeah,
Yes.
we're here for crimes. Great. So awesome. So like, what do you guys, what do you talk about? Like what you've done since, and particularly like this is a little self-serving. So if the answer is no, totally just say no. But like, do you feel like whatever happened during Crimes of the Heart and during that time, or like with other shows with Peppermint Creek, like, did that inform you in any way, whether it be like in like the theater or like other aspects of your life? I'm interested in that. So like what you've done since then, etc.
Yes.
Thanks for starting, Sarah. And for the
No
answer
problem.
being yes, you can all
Yeah.
follow Sarah's lead.
No, I'm gonna I hope this isn't too long of an answer, but you know, I had a whole journey of like, you know, leaving and moving to Chicago after graduating from grad school and discovering just really things that I had not really allowed myself to be exposed to before, including improv, and that really became like my world. And I am really proud of the work that I did as a professional actor. And then I also, but what I understood was that being a part of the show and knowing that like the community that you're in really informs how special something can be.
Mm.
And it doesn't have to be like in a major market or whatever for it to be impactful and for there to be talent involved. And so, you know, I've always appreciated what you have always done. And it, you're so important to this community. So I'm back in East Lansing now. I'm a acting faculty at Michigan State and have been doing that for a while now. And I'm just really proud of the artistry in this community. And you're just such an important part of that. So yeah, I guess that's it. Slowly close my laptop.
I was like, tears. Oh, I see. Sorry. You're great at improv.
Oh my God, thanks.
Sweet. What else, guys?
I can go. That's fine. I'm in Los Angeles now, and I work for Paramount and primarily Nickelodeon. I'm a creative director, VP, and director, and I actually been directing for a few years now, which is great. And I'd say that, well, being in Crimes and working with you, Chad, honestly, you were always so kind and so supportive. And when I came into Crimes, for example, I didn't feel like I was like the best actor on the stage at all. But you know, it was always like a good experience to be there and to put yourself out there in front of people. And it felt like something valuable and worth doing. And I will say that as a director now, you know, you can do it with so much kindness. It's about communication and kindness and making people feel comfortable in front of the camera. And I think that you were just an exceptional example of that early on, because I was really nervous. I'd say you did an amazing job of making it feel heartfelt and meaningful, and giving me the confidence to get out there. So
I'm glad.
Thanks.
Amy.
I'm also in Los Angeles and I don't get to see Phil nearly enough. I still acting also. I mostly do commercials now, but I came out here feeling like I had tools to get work in theater. And a lot of that is because of you, Chad. You gave me the confidence to trust that I don't have to like go, I can go like alternative routes to find work and fulfilling work. And I got my equity card out here. And that was like what I started out doing. I'd get my butt up, and you and I had talked about what equity lines were like in New York when you were still there. You know, up every morning at 6 and standing in line with 200 girls who are younger and thinner than me. And it just gave me, I feel like, some like the fortitude and the confidence to say like I belong here and I can do this, and to handle the rejection of it, basically. And I've actually been really hoping that I can get back to doing some theater too. It's been, you know, little kids, it's just tough. And but I really miss it. And I think very fondly on that time, you know, that we shared. It was really special. And I'm glad that I had the opportunity to work like with you outside again of like this a campus setting, just like in a community environment. I think you just learn how to be a person in the world that way. It helped.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ryan.
Okay. Yes, I moved to Chicago 2005, and I got involved in some local commercials. I did a movie, some improv stuff. And it was, you know, Phil, I think you kind of touched on it earlier, but like with Chad, it was never about, it was like, okay, obstacle, how do we get over it? Obstacle, how do we get over it? It was never like complaining. It was just like, okay, guys, here's what's going on. This is what we're going to try to do. And it was just like, you never complained. It was just, okay, we're just going to bust through and figure it out and resolve it. And it was a lot of that. And I think there was a little, it was just nice to have, you were just the tip of the spear on everything. Like nothing was going to stop you. And it was cool. And I think, to kind of, I guess, pat the rest of the cast on the back a little bit. I mean, nobody was, a grump. People came, they showed up, and it was like, let's go, like, let's do this. And okay, this was a challenge that we had here. We're going to figure it out. And then, all right, here's the space given to us. We're going to figure it out. And it was just a lot of perseverance. And it was, for me, I definitely had a little, like, in hindsight, thinking about it now, and maybe this was because of the experience that we had initially. I performed in some pretty kind of like weird venues in Chicago, and I didn't even like think about it. Like I didn't bat an eye because it was like, all right, like whatever. It's just part of, it's the show must go on. And so I think that definitely had an impact, and it just, I don't know, it just was like, I didn't even really think about it, but I think there are some people that would have been like, okay, all right, we're just going to stop here. I'm not going to perform here, So, hats off to you, Chadley.
And you
didn't, honestly, there was plenty of reasons to say this is not going to work out. And I just don't think that, ever entered your brain. So, and it was infectious, clearly. So hats off.
Thank you. Heather.
So our journey still continues, Chad, yours and mine.
Thank God.
You've been such an expander for me. The whole world of acting that I had never been in before. You taught me everything, literally. But our friendship, and you saw my children grow up, and you've been a part of our family for 20 years. And I take that with me. So I work with children still. I work with young fives all the way through seniors in high school. And so I take that with me. I take that, well, first of all, every day of teaching is a performance. And that's probably why I love it. It's a song and a dance. It's to try to engage someone, to try to teach, and to try to, I guess, lead with love. You lead with love, Chad. And you lead your theater company with love. You lead your life with love. It shines right out, and it goes in front of you everywhere you go. Oh, what was that? You rented that house, and Sparkles? Did she call? What did she call you?
Cackle.
Sparkles.
Oh, what'd she call me? Yeah.
Yeah. Was it Sparkle or Sparkles?
I think Sparkles.
Okay.
Sparkles. Yeah.
You sparkled.
Side story, everyone. Yeah, that's that.
For another day.
Yes, for a different podcast, Zoom, whatever. Yeah.
So thank you for letting me marinate in that love for 20 years.
Oh,
and
goodness.
I keep it with me.
Well, certainly, I just really reflect all that back to you guys in that, there are lots of people run theater companies, and lots of people have tried to start theater companies. And this has been such a gift. I have one last question I'll ask you guys before I let you leave. But, I think about all of the ways this is such a gift to be able to reflect on sort of that inflection point of like Crimes of the Heart and like what kicked us off as a nonprofit theater company in Lansing, and all of the ways that things could have gone off the rails, or that experiences could have been so terrible, or shows would have been unsuccessful, or anything that could have led to the theater closing, or just a whole lot of things, having a different type of reputation as a theater company. And so much of it started with this show, and with you, and with the 6 of you, including Laura Croft, that and sort of branding us literally and sort of like emotionally as a theater company. So all those things that I think you're saying you experience, that's also been what we've experienced as a theater company, is that other people wanting to come and work on shows with other people that are excited about it, and want to establish an atmosphere of camaraderie and like excitement for the work and working on this type of work. and that are going to embrace like, okay, like we just, whatever the hurdle might be, we're going to figure it out. And as opposed to there being like a lot of divas who just like check out or whatever. And so that really all started with you guys, you know, and I'll tell you, it's like such a gift. I think it's a gift for me, and it sounds like it's been a gift for you. And I think it's also a gift to, I'm being slightly like lofty now, but like for the Lansing community that we all choose to like engage in this type of work and this type of like, particularly like this type of theater that is not necessarily, you know, Annie or just like, but rather is like asking audiences to contemplate trickier, stickier, harder content. And so I mean, so for me, what I took from Crimes of the Heart was that anyone would want to come and work on that type of material, and that all of you guys said yes. Like was something for me that like was a springboard, really, you know, for this type of life essentially in 20 years, which is insane. So so just I have so much gratitude for you guys. So just the last thing I'd love for you to say, you know, I started this theater company, and we started with Crimes that really was just like came out of just wanting to work on something artistically that I was really passionate about and I believed in. What are you working on right now artistically that you're really passionate about and love? Excited about?
I'll go first. I can go quick because Chad kind of knows the answer. We're working on a third book right now, but Chad, you were one of the people that introduced me. There was a couple different versions, but you're one of the people that introduced me to that guy right there.
Yes, sir. Spencer Smith.
Spencer Smith. So we've done
Also
a
a
couple
Peppermint
so
Creek alum.
far. We've done a couple so far, and
Two books, you guys. Two books they
we're
wrote.
working on
That's
a
so
third,
cool.
which is really, really fun. I think he's maybe that annoyed with me right now because I'm really slowing down the process on book number 3. I gotta be honest, but no, it's really special. Another Peppermint Creek guy who did a ton of stuff with you, Chad. Like, right? You guys
yes.
did a bunch of shows, so yeah, that's one thing out there that I really care about.
A third book, Phil. What an accomplishment. Like, I mean, that's astounding. Great.
That's awesome.
How can people find out more about your books?
Probably just my name probably works, or
Okay, yeah.
I don't know.
You just, like, look down there,
What's
yeah.
the easiest way? Yeah. And my name's
Like,
on the Zoom. I
Google,
think you're good
Chad?
right here.
Google?
Yeah.
Right, okay,
That'll
great.
probably work. Yeah.
Sweet. Yes, I was hoping that would be right close enough on my son's like shelf that I could also pull it out, but it's not. It's over there. But awesome, great. What else?
I'm working on my 4th book right now.
Are you? You're
I'm just kidding.
4. Okay, yeah.
Oh no, hell no. Nope. Yes, thank you for that. What am I doing? I don't know. Like I said, I'm acting faculty at MSU, and we've got like 2 more weeks left of classes. Currently teaching auditioning and improv 2. Yeah, and then I like, oh God, I want to do nothing this summer, and I think that's the plan. So
Lovely, lovely.
yeah.
Great. Artistically, what are you excited about?
I'm
I have
easy.
not much-
I have nothing
Oh, go
going
ahead.
on. So
Nothing, Ryan, nothing.
I have nothing.
That's
Nothing?
impossible.
Nothing. I got nothing.
You're not like drawing, you're not like playing the guitar.
No.
Do
No.
you need me to like solve that for you? Like,
I have
Let's
no.
explore this
got
further,
nothing.
Ryan. We need to explore this.
yeah,
Just
okay.
skip me. I'm easy.
You're in Chicago where there's so much theater. Do you ever think about trying to like go?
I definitely have actually.
Don't let me force you into that answer, but
I know it, you know, the bug doesn't go away. So, you know, unless it's in Sarah's shoe, but you know,
thanks.
yeah, I don't know.
That's funny. All right, I'm gonna remember that.
Okay. All
Ryan's
right.
bored. He needs a show. That's
Yeah,
what I'm
yes,
saying.
that's what your ears heard, I'm sure. Yeah.
I wish I had some like far in the future projections for something that I'm really, but we're having a baby and I'm going to see Funny Girl tonight with a girlfriend.
Oh, great.
So those are my 2 big things
Baby
right
3,
now.
right? We saw
Yeah.
one of the kids.
Congrats.
Yeah, sorry, she made an appearance.
Amy, you're due next
Awesome.
month, you said, in May.
I am. I'm doing early May.
You're doing
Congrats.
nothing but creating right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I tell myself.
Human.
I think that's even
I
better.
have my
than
own
short form.
production.
Yeah, you are.
Thank you. Oh,
Yeah.
goodness.
Oh.
Heather, what do you artistically, you sort of said you're in bands.
Yeah. So, yep, definitely still, they say never stop playing, never, whatever you do, don't ever stop playing, whatever the play is for you. It's, like for my kids, it's basketball. For me, it's music or if and when we can do another show. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's what I do creatively. But I think my job is, I just transitioned. This is my second year in this role as a health resource advocate and a mental wellness specialist. And I have to be very creative in how I bring that to, especially to 6th through 12th graders. So yeah, we're designing a calm room right across the hall here for emotional regulation. Yeah, it's more creative than you'd think being in a school
Hmm.
system.
Oh, I
Really is.
believe it.
So, yeah, that's what I'm passionate about right now.
Sweet. You
Can I
guys.
plug something locally? Real
Yes,
quick?
please. Plug away.
Okay, so my husband and I started a nonprofit called Share the Music Foundation, and we bring in artists, musicians from all around and bring them into the local area here, and all of the proceeds go to the MSU Community Music School. MSU gives them the building, and that's it. So, which is great. You need a building, yeah. But
Mhm.
so these go to fund scholarships for young people that want to have music in their lives. So if you're around this summer, we've got 4 dates coming up, and the first one's June 13th. And if you're around, anybody out there that wants to come support the cause, that'd be amazing.
And you guys have a website for, right? Is
We
it just
do, yeah. sharethemusicfoundation.org.
Great. Great.
We got an org.
Sarah, I'll be there.
Yay! Thank you.
I will be there.
Amazing.
Great.
Ooh,
Let's
maybe
go,
you guys can
Chad. Let's go
open.
together.
What if you open? All right, we'll talk.
Oh,
Sorry, thank you for letting me plug.
Ryan could open. I think Ryan said he's bored. So
There you go.
yeah.
I'll
Amazing.
be in Wilmington, North Carolina then.
Sorry.
All right.
Right.
All
Yeah.
right.
Otherwise,
Well, you guys, this has been just the biggest gift. To still be at least connected at all 20 years later, but for what you did in Crimes of the Heart and other things for this, what you have done for this theater company and for me, my heart is bursting. So thank you for taking this time to reminisce. For me, this is selfish, and for our community to think about what is possible in 20 years. And also, to go off of what you've all just said about what you're working on right now, to think about how whatever we're doing now is then a springboard for the next 20 years is really just kind of amazing and decadent and fantastic. So I just love you all so much. Let me say it publicly and loudly, how much I love you and treasure you, and to have had that experience 20 years ago, and then to hopefully continue to have experiences with all of you. So thank you for everything. And thank you for being here today. And to all of you listening, thank you for listening to this reunion, even if it's only just for us to all laugh and be goofy. So thanks so much. And all of you, I'll look forward to seeing you again soon. All right. Bye.
Thank you. Love you, Chad.
love you.
Love
Love
you
you
all.
all.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Dad.